Well, Coach, first of all, I guess the first time we've talked to you since spring ball started. How is your group doing, and what have you what are you wanting to see from them this spring?
I think the group is doing pretty good. I thought we took a step back today in practice, but the last practice 6, the scrimmage that we had, I thought they played well in that scrimmage. The last 2 days, I thought we took a few steps back, but they're young and they're progressing. Just continue getting better. I mean, we got the true leader with Matt Miller in the group, who showed up and had a good day today. So hopefully it can trickle down and we can find another guy besides Matt and Shane and Troy, and a guy that needs to progress here pretty soon.
When you say take a step back, what do you mean?
I mean, I thought we had a few drops today, but it's the first day we did have as many drops as we did have. So we just put in extra work after practice, and we'll come back out Friday and do our job and catch the football.
What do you emphasize with your wide receivers? What are the things that you want them to do well?
First, obviously playing the position, knowing the concepts, understanding the concept, alignment and assignment-wise. And then, the 3 basic fundamentals of football at that position is explode off the ball, catch it, and run after catch. Those are the 3 things that we are emphasizing with these guys. And then, put the polish on it. We want to run after the catch, I think, is the most important thing that can separate the good, the great from the good.
How much film of these guys did you watch from last year? And obviously losing 3 seniors, I mean, you talk about some guys needing to step up, but how familiar were you with these guys coming into spring ball? And I guess how does that focus what you're wanting to work on?
I was pretty familiar with them. I watched cut-ups on each individual player, even the guys that were on scout team. So I got to know them pretty well in the off season. So when camp did start, we were both familiar. We were all familiar with each other.
Who's played well so far through the first couple of weeks?
I mean, obviously Matt's played good football. I thought Thomas Spurback has played good football. Shane is Shane. He does his job. But besides those 3 guys, DJ's made a play. Yesterday he made some big plays for us on the field. Those are some of the guys that have made plays for us.
I was going to say Thomas Spurback's name keeps coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Played a little bit last year. What are his strengths and what has impressed you about him?
Thomas, he's got a good pedigree. He's got a good background with his dad being a football coach. He does have a high football IQ. He's deceptively fast. And, he's understanding how to create separation in tight spaces.
You mentioned Matt a couple of times. I mean, how nice is it to have a guy like that? I mean, he's going to break a lot of school records this year. I mean, to have a guy like that anchoring the wide receiver core this year, how nice is it to kind of build things around him?
I mean, it's awesome. For me to be able to walk in this situation and have a guy like Matt, Matt's a quiet leader. And he's one of those guys that is, like they say here, he's blue collar. He shows up every day and does go to work.
What do you envision for Shane? What kind of role do you see for him?
Shane plays the position, and that's his role, is being able to play the position of wideout. But Shane can give you more in the return game, and obviously being able to give him touches, handing him the ball, do certain things as far as getting him in space.
He obviously took a step up last year. Would have maybe broken the school record as well in catches, if not for missing at the end of the season. But he said he's going to be more of a conventional receiver this year. I mean, how do you look at him as far as conventional and route running and stuff like that?
I think that's the next step for Shane, and that's one thing we did talk about when I first got here. Is I understand your stature and you're small, and people always say that this was your role. But I think for him is taking the next step and understanding how to play the position and separate. Versus man coverage and running, vertical routes.
For a guy his size, how can you effectively do that consistently?
How can he effectively do it? I mean, there's certain techniques and fundamentals that he needs to do as far as getting on top of guys, understanding how to shave shoulders and attacking the edge. And, there's certain little things he has to understand when to separate in a route and how to separate. And he's starting to understand it, and he's starting to get it.
Gotten AJ out there early, first recruit in at wide receiver. How's it going with him? How's he doing?
AJ's doing good. AJ's funny, man. He's doing good. He comes to practice every day, but just trying to get him going every day. You have to come to practice every day, every snap. You got to come off the ball, and just trying to knock some of the rust off him because he did take a year off of football, and with an ACL injury. So, but AJ has made plays. He made a play in the scrimmage too. So.
Is he a guy that can get on the field in the fall and produce?
I think all these guys can get on the field in the fall. It's going to be interesting to see, where we're at after 15 practices, and the growth from practice 15 until camp started is going to be huge for these guys.
You talked about all these guys being able to get in the field in the fall. Is that funner as a coach, I guess, with all the competition going on, all these kids trying to get some time?
Yeah, it is. It's cool because we can build competition in our room. And it's good for me, just to be able to see who the guys are that really step up and want to compete and want to make plays on a daily basis.
You mentioned DJ had a good day yesterday. Was that a one-day thing, or has he been good through spring?
DJ's been kind of, on and off the field a little bit with the knees. He's come back off the knee injury as well. But, he's starting to get his feet up underneath him, and he made some plays down the field yesterday I thought were really good.
you got a lot of, it seems like, between him and AJ and Shane, you got a lot of guys coming off of leg injuries.
Yeah.
Are those guys physically where you need them to be yet, or is it going to take all of summer to get them back to
I
where
don't
you
think
want
they're physically where they need to be yet, and I don't think anybody is in that group yet. But we got a summer ahead of us. We still got 6 practices left, and a summer ahead of them. So we got a lot of work to do.
You mentioned Troy, obviously, and he's a guy got on the field some last year, made
Yeah.
some plays. I mean, how do you look at him and kind of taking that next step this year himself with probably a bigger role and more chances?
Troy did make some plays for him last year, and Troy's got a good skill set, and the next step for him is being able to make the moment of truth plays, as we call it. Being able to go up and climb the ladder on guys and go take it out the air and be a guy that we can rely on those money down situations.
There's been a lot of talk with offense this year with more shifts and motions and kind of a lot more thinking involved than maybe last year. How's that go on the wide receivers? Do they have a lot of extra thinking involved, or how's it like for them learning this process, this new offense?
I mean, I think it's a process for all of us, including myself, being new here with the shifts and the motions and, all the movement package we do. But, I mean, at the end of the day, some of these guys have been in the system before. So, I think the new guys, just understanding the tempo of practice and the speed of practice is what we're all trying to get right now.
Do you guys have 3 distinct wide receiver positions still, or is it more interchangeable, or how do you guys structure that?
I think we're multiple. We can go 3, we can go 4, we can go 2, we can go 1, or we can go none. And that's the luxury of this offense.
What
So
about
we
5?
Yeah,
But-
we can go 5. We can go 5 too.
Are
We
they-
get more than 5, right?
Are they fitting into particular roles, or can everybody sort of line up in any spot?
I think that's the cool thing about this offense is one guy can play X, one guy can play Z, and one guy can play H, and the next play they can all 3 play different positions. And that's the cool thing about this offense is you may be X one play and next play you may be Z. So
How much different is this than what you ran at Eastern Washington?
it's different. At Eastern Washington, we were still no huddle, but the receivers didn't change sides. One had a right and I had a left, and then you had your slot, which was your adjuster. So it's a little different, in that way. But this is still, we do some no huddle stuff. So it is a little different in that regard.
What are maybe advantages to that, having guys switch sides and not always have this guy on the left or this guy on the right? I mean, what can that do maybe against the defense?
Eastern Washington, when we did go right and left, you always know that a guy's always going to be on that right-hand side or a guy's always going to be on that left-hand side. And a lot of defenses go right and left corner. So you're seeing that same guy all day. Now, being able to be interchangeable and go left and right and, be able to go flip sides with the wideouts, you're seeing a different guy every snap. And I think that's a good deal because now you can't get a feel for you.
What about the receivers just working from different sides of the field then?
Excuse me?
What about the receivers just working from different sides of the field then?
What do you mean?
If you always line up on the right side of the field, you probably get a little more accustomed over there versus.
Yeah, and that was the hard part at Eastern was those guys got accustomed to always being on the right and always being on the left. And they got accustomed to that here last year, always being on the right and always being on the left. And I'm not against it. I mean, I thought it was good for what we did. But I want guys to be able to go left and right.
With the scrimmage coming up on Saturday, 2 of them over the next couple of weeks, what's the difference between going live in a scrimmage and, you talk about guys like Troy showing up and making those plays when in the moment. Does that provide those guys a little bit of an opportunity to do that?
Yeah, it's a game day, and that's how we approach it. They got to understand that this is graded much higher than a practice. We want to see how you're going to show up on game day.